You're tuned into the VSX Digital Sports Network.
More fire, more heat. This mix is moving.
You're listening to the boss of the big ball.
That's right, Las Vegas, all of my sports bettors around the world. It is time to wake up. The football season is here. And we're breaking down the division rounds. Who's going to be able to put the cash in your pocket? That's right, turn it up. 107.1 FM, JB the Ticket. Vegas Scoreboard Express. Giving you the grease, waking you up early this morning. Thank you so much for tuning in. AM 1400, all my fans listening around the world, KSHP.com, Vegas Scoreboard Express.com. We have been waiting all summer for this. We can see now that the NFL is going to be super duper valuable. Got my main man, Ron, third down best bets. He's on the line with me right now. Just going to tap in with him. Ron, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, brother. How are you?
I'm telling you, today we are breaking it down. Got you going over the AFC West, and then got a special guest getting here on the big board. My main man, Rodney Knuppel from KNUP Sports. Longtime fan and big-time supporter of the show. Going to be breaking down that AFC North with you. You guys are going to want to keep it locked here on a busy day at KSHP AM 1400. Got so much to go over in the NFL season. Breaking down the picks that pay. A lot of cash to be made early. I don't think there's going to be a lot of roster changes barring injury. But Ron, quick shout out. We'll jump over to this commercial break. Come back and get into the grease. Again, you guys are rocking with JB the Ticket. Follow me on Instagram at JB the Ticket. You can check the show out on The Bird. Just giving out the links on The Bird from now on for the show. Something going on really weird with that app, but we don't really care too much about it. And, of course, go to my website, VegasScoreboardExpress.com. Early morning shout out to my main man, Naeem the Dream. Philadelphia's finest, always listening early here in Las Vegas. Hit me up early this morning like, yo, I am locked into 107.1. You guys are going to want to stay tuned to that as well. Ron, shout out. Let's get this. Get back to the grease. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. My bro, Jared Garcia, lifelong fan, my brother, my quarterback. He's a football card collector looking to hook up a distributor if anybody's looking for that. And most importantly, he's a listener of our show. Thank you, Jared, for listening.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for all you listeners here in Las Vegas, waking up early in the morning with JB the Ticket. That's how you get the money. When we get back from this short commercial break, jumping into that AFC West. And you know who's in that AFC West. Our Las Vegas Raiders. Ron Third Down Best Bets is going to have that grease for you, giving you the picks that pay. Keep it locked, and let's get up early and get the money.
You're listening to the boss of the big ball, JB the Ticket. Giving you that grease. This football season, stay in the game with Fubo TV. Over 100 live channels, including NFL Network, NBA TV, and FS1. Don't miss any of the action. Get 7 days free on us at VegasScoreboardExpress.com. Don't get cabled. Get Fubo TV.
Pine Hollow Winery is the first and only boutique winery in the Las Vegas city limits that features its own handcrafted wines. Located on the west side, just minutes from the Strip at 7018 West Charleston, Pine Hollow wines are available for tasting by the glass, bottle, or for carryout. Peach lovers, pick up a bottle of the Warm Fuzzy, which is a sweet Chardonnay-style wine made with peach and apricots. Visit PineHollowWinery.com for their events, wine menu, and hours. That's PineHollowWinery.com.
Keep it locked with your boy on the ones and twos. Going in on the wheels of steel.
You're listening to the boss of the big ball.
This is it. The cocaine and the crack. They all sound the same to me. There's a war going on outside. No man is safe from. Scoreboard. That's how I'm living. That's how we do it. That's just the way it is. That's the reason why I came to you. Drink and women and money.
All money, all sports, no bull. You know who's back with you. JB the Ticket, Vegas Scoreboard Express, waking you up live every Saturday and Sunday. KSHP, AM 1400. Follow the show on Instagram at JB the Ticket. Want to give a shout out to my brand new social media management team, Social Finesse Media. Jameson and Janie, you guys are rocking with me, putting together a very nice social media package for Vegas Scoreboard Express and VSX Digital Networks this season. For all of your social media promotion and development needs, you guys follow these guys over on Instagram at JB Click Media and Social Finesse Media. So I got my main man, Ron Third Down Best Bets, back on the line with me here to talk about this AFC West. It is time to get into it, my friend. The NFL season is here. You guys can watch these games like you heard just now on that short commercial break on Fubo TV, giving you 7 days free, 15% off. Go to FuboTV.com/JB, and I'm going to hook you up. Do not miss the games this season, dealing with cable and blackouts in your local area. We've got everything that you need to stay in tune with your favorite team, NFL Network, NFL Red Zone. You can't go wrong with Fubo TV. Again, anybody that knows me knows that I am a big hater of terrible companies. If you're a bad company and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, JB is not going to show you a lot of love. But this is a company that has been taking care of all of its customers, taking care of the sports world. You got the Women's World Cup available on Fubo TV as well for all you guys out there liking the women's soccer, international sports, but most importantly, this pro football season. So, Ron, let's jump into it again. You've been chomping at the bit. The NFL division rounds are upon us. Got a lot of money to be made. Today, we are going to be talking about the AFC West. These picks being brought to you by BetUS.com. That's right. Use offer code VSX125 for your bets this season. I'm giving you a 125% bonus on your initial deposit. Also going to have some sweepstakes coming up for week 1 of the NFL season. We're going to be giving away some cash bets. That's right, cash bets here at KSHP. But you got to be able to beat the big board and the boss of the big board with making your picks. And you know that's going to be tough. But, Ron, let's jump into it. Very first pick on the board, rotation number 1301, the Kansas City Chiefs. These guys are Super Bowl champions, putting it together last season. Pat Mahomes and these guys seem to still be clicking. Andy Reid fought through adversity last year on some personal issues and were able to coach these guys back to a championship. These are the only team that I see right now in the minus in the AFC West at minus 155. Now, you know I don't like those cheap teams to win in these particular divisions, especially coming into a new season. Lost Mecole Hardman, a couple of other players. They also lost Tyreek Hill. He's down in Miami doing his thing now. Kansas City, do you think these guys are a viable bet if you just want to take a ticket that you think can win? Because, again, this division, every single season, it starts off with some of these bottom feeders getting a lot of grease, a lot of promotion, and then they end up tanking at the very end of the season, can't get anything going, costing you money, injuries, bad coaching, you name it, it happens in this division. But Kansas City right now at rotation number 1301 at minus 155. Let's get at it, Ron. Go ahead.
Yes, I do believe they're very viable. They have to be the favorites still. I mean, they are the Super Bowl champs. Basically, they turned over their receiver position. They lost Hardman. They lost Juju Smith-Schuster to New England. But people forget they brought in Kadarius Toney last year right before the playoffs. And he looked really good. We only played about 3 games with him, and he looked really good. If he could stay healthy.
Yeah, Kadarius Toney was coming off of the scrap heap in New York, and this is another one of these things that we're seeing a lot now in the NFL. Guys, especially the wide receiver position, moving teams in their restricted free agent seasons. And what we saw last year with Kansas City, they're a big-time team picking up these restricted free agents. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's stacked. I mean, they have Isaiah Pacheco, came out of nowhere. What was it, 6th-round pick? He turned out to be one of the best running backs in the league last year. And nobody talks about the secret weapon, who I think doesn't get any credit. It's Jerick McKinnon. I mean, he's all over the field. I mean, he had 512 yards receiving, 9 touchdowns as a running back. And he did that receiving. and he comes in, pops 300 yards, 2 more touchdowns as a running back. I mean, he's a real secret weapon nobody talks about.
Let's talk a little bit about their defense on the side of the ball, because, again, a lot of people never give a lot of credit to Kansas City's defense. But, again, last year in the Super Bowl, were able to stop the Eagles when it mattered. Again, shout out my main man, Linwood Hard Rock Hamilton, defender of the youth, Philadelphia Eagle, Philadelphia native. But, again, the Kansas City Chiefs, their particular defensive style of play has relied mainly on defensive backs getting the job done. Do you think that they're going to make some changes? I know on the offensive side, Eric Bieniemy has finally gotten a chance to go do his thing over in D.C., if I'm not mistaken. But talking about it from this perspective, we know the offense is changing. We're going to talk about the offense, but that defense, I want to know if Kansas City can hold up this year. They saw quite a few times last year where that defense gave up a few big plays, losing at home, costing large spread money line. So again, I see these guys at minus 155 to win the division. I'm saying, well, that defense, I'm always a little bit shaky on KC's defense. Go ahead.
Yeah, you should be, and I still am as well. I mean, their defense it's a bend, don't break defense. They're not going to shut teams down. They're not going to dominate teams. They can't shut down a running game. Their cornerbacks are good. They're young. They're both really good. But right now, they're both hurt from the last thing I read. So they lost Frank Clark to Denver, and he stepped up in the playoffs. He seemed to get going. That was his time to turn it on. So I think that'll hurt him. But I believe it'll be enough because their offense is just so dominant. I mean, you can't stop Mahomes and Kelsey. Everybody knows that's coming every week, and it still happens. Mm-hmm. You can't stop it. And that's right there alone. They're going to win the division with that. You can't stop it.
Let's talk about their linebackers for a little bit. On the defensive side, you got Willie Gay and Nick Bolton. You've also got Trent McDuffie, who tries to come in and play a little bit of that hybrid kind of heat seeker, if you will, in that blitz. But it does look like he's got a little bit of an injury. There's a Q next to his name. You're talking about this defense again, going back to that base 4-3. If they maintain the base 4-3, who do you think they're going to be able to come in and help out these constantly injured players? L'Jarius Sneed, Trent McDuffie. You've got Justin Reed back there. But again, you're bringing in players who have opportunities to start going into training camp, coming out of preseason. Who are some of these second string guys that you think could possibly make the roster and be impactful for them in the division this year? Go ahead.
Well, as a cornerback, I know he's not a second string guy, but he's a free agent. I've heard recently that Marcus Peters might be signing with him. I know the Raiders had him in and they didn't sign him. So that would definitely be, helpful for them.
Moving right along, man, because we want to jump into this NFL preseason the right way. Again, shout out my main man, Rodney Knuppel. He's waiting in the wings out in Chicagoland, somewhere out there in the Midwest. I know he's been moving around for a lot of media days. Again, Noob Sports. We're going to be jumping into that AFC North on the half hour. You guys are definitely going to want to stay tuned for that. But let's talk about another team. Shout out another friend of mine, my main man David, manager over at the 76. We got to throw dirt on him, though, man. Chargers rotation number 1302. LA Chargers, 1302, Los Angeles Chargers at plus 325. You said it in the pregame. They're stacked. They're loaded. Brand new offensive coordinator. And Kellen Moore, former standout quarterback for Boise State, got shipped out of Dallas. Now he is in L.A. Justin Herbert at QB. You got Austin Ekeler at the running back position. A lot of injuries, though, on that wide receiver core. Let's talk to me and talk to the fans a little bit about what you're seeing here, because, again, some of the things that you said to me in the pregame about the Chargers are very important, and I want you to reiterate that. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Chargers, pretty much every season you look at their roster and you kind of, wow, they're stacked. But usually by week 2, week 3, 3 or 4 of their best guys are on the IR every season. And it's just happening. And I mean, for their sake, I mean, being a Raider fan, it's okay, it happens. But doing what we do, I mean, I really hope for them they get a chance to I'd like to see them go through a season without the injuries, because I really do believe they're a stacked football team. I mean, Justin Herbert's, he's just an incredible quarterback. And Austin Ekeler, nobody talks about him. I mean, Austin Ekeler, to me, I think he's a good bet for player of the year in the conference, and definitely the NFL this year.
Well, I mean the running backs, just to touch on that, the running backs, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago on our show, the value of the running backs has been depleting over the past couple of seasons, and no running back got a max contract extension this offseason before the deadline. So I wouldn't put too much grease on Austin Ekeler. He's going to be more of a fifth wide receiver, a check down back, getting passes and stuff like that. But as far as player of the division or possibly player of the year for the conference, that is a long dog that we're not going to get into quite just yet. But again, talking about the draft picks of the Chargers. Now, these guys picked up 2 wide receivers. You got Quentin Johnson out of TCU. You've also got Darius Davis, TCU, another TCU guy, not a wide receiver, but backup quarterback, possibly picked him up at number 239, Max Duggan. So when you talk about this team, they know they've had issues at the wide receiver position. Talk to me about some of the opportunities that you may see for Kellen Moore. We know he likes to air it out. He's got a strong arm quarterback, a good check down running back, but this receiver core has been the main issue of injuries for the Chargers over the past couple of seasons. And it's very important for LA to pick it up and get it together, because coming up next week, we're going to be getting into the NFC, and the Rams are trying to make a pushback to Super Bowl form. But talking about these Chargers trying to get over the hump, you mentioned that they beat Kansas City last year in Kansas City, but to maintain dominance and take their place as either the second best or move into that first place position in this division, the AFC West, they're going to have to get better play and more consistent play, less injuries out of their wide receiver core. Talk about it.
Yes, I agree. One guy nobody talks about, though, that developed last year is Joshua Palmer. He had almost 800 yards receiving last year. And if anybody watched their games, which not many people did, he is really an incredible receiver. He made some just incredible catches, and he and Herbert really started to develop a good combination at the end of the season. So he's definitely somebody to watch out for. And I like Quentin Johnston. I think he's going to be really good in that offense. He's a big receiver, 6'4", fast. He's exactly what they need. I mean, they got him, Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams, and Joshua Palmer. So if they stay healthy, they're good. They're stacked.
Very good. Very good team. I like them on paper. The Madden rankings came out again. You guys get over to VegasScoreboardExpress.com. I've got those Madden games for you over at my partners at Go2 Games. They're going to be able to hook you up. Check it out all season long. Madden 2023. The rankings have come out. A lot of the players aren't happy with their rankings, but it is what it is. Show us something on the field, and those rankings, I'm telling you, in the digital world will go up. Moving right along in the AFC West, rotation number 1303, the Denver Broncos. Oh, my goodness. Last year, we saw these guys tank. Terrible. These guys are at plus 450 to win the division. Now, what I say is this team goes as Russell Wilson goes. Now, we know Russell Wilson has been working hard in the offseason. Unfortunately, got his cohort there, co-parent, making bad rap songs about him. Shout out Future, man. We like his old stuff, but all that clowning and stuff, you know, that's weak. But we ain't going to get too much into it. But Russell Wilson, he needs to turn this team around. He came in on a max contract. The Denver Broncos stunk it up last year. Couldn't score. The offense was stagnant. Defense was even worse at plus 450, rotation number 1303. What do you see happening with the Denver Broncos? It's make or break for Russell Wilson this season. I think that he is the key to this team on the sideline, in the locker room. How Russell Wilson goes is how the Denver Broncos go. And I think he's poised to have a better season. He came in with a lot of fanfare, a lot of celebrity endorsement, but didn't prove it on the field at plus 450. Do you think anybody other than people who live in Denver are going to take that bet at rotation number 1303, the Denver Broncos, to win the division? Go ahead.
I hope not for their bank account. I mean, Denver, everything I have read is that people believe that Sean Payton is going to be the quarterback, and he's going to be the one to save the team, because nobody's, you know, he's just a coach, number one. And he has to coach the talent that's there. Russell Wilson last year played good in one game last year, the last game of the season. The old Russell Wilson threw the ball more than 30 yards and was accurate. It was the only time he looked good. And if he comes back into the season, that same Russell Wilson with the same arm strength and accuracy, they have a shot to win 7 games. They don't have a lot of weapons.
That's a long dog that's wolfing at plus 450. Denver Broncos, always known for their defense. Talking about the Denver Broncos today here on this VSX Division Preview Show. Again, follow us over on The Bird at We Beat the Line. Follow me on Instagram, mainly at JB the Ticket. I'll DM you the show. And again, keep it locked here. KSHP, AM 1400 and 107.1. So again, we're talking about a couple of the draft picks that came out for the Denver Broncos. Who do you see on that particular team? Well, actually, one of these players who can actually help out on that defense, because the Broncos have been known for defense over the last couple of years. Von Miller, a lot of these other vaunted guys have traded away, haven't been able to stop anybody, haven't been able to score. At plus 450, who's going to help these guys out? Go ahead.
Well, Denver does have some good players on defense. I mean, Alex Singleton is a tackling machine. I mean, he's a really good linebacker. He is all over the field. Patrick Surtain III, he's a very good corner. Justin Simmons is one of the best safeties in the league.
Yes.
So St. Clark from Kansas City are defensive end. I mean, they have talent on the defensive side. The problem last year was that they were on the field too much because the offense stunk.
That's just what I was getting ready to say. Do you think that their defense, and I'm talking about the Denver Broncos, do you think that Denver Broncos defense, not only were they tired out, but was it an entire team thing? The frustrations, the disappointments of where the things were going last season, didn't sniff the playoffs, were out of playoff contention, I think, last year by like week 8. Do you think that is what affected the defense? Because you just mentioned some very stout players on that defense, too tired on the field too much. What has to change on the offensive side of the football for the Denver Broncos for these guys to maintain some sort of dominance and some sort of relevance in this division? Because at plus 450, I think it's a sweet price, but I think it's a trickery price, man. I don't think these guys are going to be able to compete with the Chargers and with the Chiefs. But moving down the list to our hometown Las Vegas Raiders, rotation number 1304. Plus 1,200. That is a long dog that I do think is barking. You got Jimmy Garoppolo at the QB, recovering from surgery. Not a lot of news coming out of training camp. One of the first seasons and off seasons that we've seen these guys getting quiet. We talked about that many, many weeks ago during the NBA playoffs. But again, the Las Vegas Raiders, Super Bowl, the big game. It is here in Las Vegas. It would be great for them to represent a la Tom Brady when he went down to Tampa Bay. They've got some great defensive draft picks, great offensive draft picks. Again, you know I'm a big fan of Michael the Mask Myers, tight end out of Notre Dame. Again, like I said, guy's all business, coming in ready to play. Think he's going to be a week 1 starter. Talk to me a little bit about what you see about these Raiders, and then we'll get ready to get into the NFC North with my main man, Rodney Knuppel. Again, my main man, Ron, Third Down Best Bet you're listening to now. Follow him on Instagram at RaiderHawk1. He has been dropping grease all morning, and if you follow him on Instagram, DM him. He will be able to give you some personal information that can help you get where you want to be. But again, rotation number 1304, Las Vegas Raiders, plus 1,200, long dog, bottom of the division as far as the line makers go. Ron, what say ye? Go ahead.
It's going to be a tough season to beat Kansas City and the Chargers. The Raiders are a much better team. They need everything to go right. They need Jimmy G to come in and to be Jimmy G. Jimmy G has been one of the best quarterbacks on third down. People don't give him credit for that.
And that's coming from Ron, Third Down Best Bets. Go ahead.
A long time. Third down was horrible with Derek Carr.
I think the defense is going to be the key. The defense is going to be the key.
Tyree Wilson is going to help so much. He's out right now. He's rehabbing his foot injury from college. People are already freaking out. He's not going to be ready for the season. He's going to be fine. They're being preventative, getting him healthy.
I'm talking about
linebackers are better.
Yes.
They drafted good. I mean, they have a chance. They do have a chance.
I think they're going to be very competitive on the defensive side of the ball. That rookie draft class, Florida linebacker, you had Amari Burney come out, another long dog, Arizona State defensive tackle. This guy is a unit. Nesta Jade Silvera, also Jacorian Bennett. Very, very good defensive back out of Maryland. Like I told you, he is a pick monster on the defensive side of the ball. I'm looking at this guy to get 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 picks this year just because the way he is a ball hawk. And then on the defensive tackle side, Alabama defensive tackle Byron Young. Always love that national championship pedigree coming in to the locker room. I think the Raiders are going to be fine this year. They've been very, very quiet. Had a couple of guys in from the Raiders here in the station here. Again, shout out my main man on the underground with the Raiders. We ain't going to break it down. Let's hope none of the players have to call you. JB the Ticket, Vegas Scoreboard Express, giving you the grease, waking you up early in the morning. My main man, Ron, Third Down Best Bets. Follow him again on Instagram at RaiderHawk1. Again, shout out my main man, Naeem the Dream. Thank you so much for continuing to listen here in Las Vegas. All the people that you're putting on to the show, follow me on Instagram at JB the Ticket, and of course the website, VegasScoreboardExpress.com. So again, Ron, any last shout outs? I'll let you get out of here. And then, of course, coming up next, my main man, Rodney Knuppel, Knupp Sports. These guys are controlling the sports information industry, giving a lot of articles, a lot of websites that you guys read. for your information, they've got their hand in it. So it's going to be very important that you stay tuned and listen to what my main guy, Rodney, has got to say about that AFC North. But, Ron, give out your shout-outs. I'll get to this short commercial break. Thank you so much, man. You were dropping grease this morning. Yeah.
Thank you, brother. It's a pleasure to be here. I gotta shout out Daniel David Grimshaw, longtime friend, the only real actual Chargers fan I know, and I think he's going to be real happy if you're. Good luck to you, and thank you for supporting the show.
There you go, my main man Ron, Third Down Best Bets, giving out that shout out. Thank you guys all much for listening here in Las Vegas. I'm hooking you guys up with the Fubo TV. Go to FuboTV.com/JB, 15% off when I get back. Rodney Knuppel, Noob Sports, AFC North, giving you the previews that are going to put the cash in your pocket. Keep it locked, 107.1 FM, KSHP AM 1400.
Vegas Scoreboard Express, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 6 on AM 1400, KSHP North Las Vegas. Online at KSHP.com.
As a 3-time international award-winning restaurant, Joe's New York Pizza uses only the freshest and best available ingredients. From giant slices of hand-tossed pie to calzone, strombolis, fingers, and wings, Joe's serves all your favorites. Stop in for a slice at one of their 2 Las Vegas locations at Paradise and Harmon or South Las Vegas Boulevard, or you can check out their menu at joesnewyorkpizzalv.com.
This football season, stay in the game with Fubo TV. Over 100 live channels, including NFL Network, NBA TV, and FS1. Don't miss any of the action. Get 7 days free on us at VegasScoreboardExpress.com. Don't get cabled. Get Fubo TV.
You're tuned into the VSX Digital Sports Network.
JB the Ticket back at you live. Rodney, are you on the line with me? We're going to go ahead and jump into the grease. How you doing? Man, I'm doing great. Doing great. Thank you guys so much for tuning back in. KSHP AM 1400. JB the Ticket here back at you live. 107.1 FM. Again, got to call out whoever was in here last night. If you do it again, I'm going to leave a booger on your desk. JB the Ticket, Vegas Scoreboard Express. Waking you up live, coming back at you. AFC North, talking the NFL division rounds this weekend. Going to be all AFC, all money, all sports, no bull. Got my main man, Rodney Knuppel, VP of Marketing and Sports Information over at KNUPsports.com. If you don't know what KNUPsports.com is, they're kind of the Cargill, if you will, of sports and sports betting information. They got their hands on a lot of websites, have done a lot of web development over the last 20 years in the industry, leaders in the industry. Very, very astute. Give a shout out to your brother Ryan down in Orlando. He was the guy that linked up with VSX many years ago. But again, Rodney, thank you so much for spending time with us this morning on the show. So we're getting into it, talking about this AFC North. Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, Cleveland Browns, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, talking about this division, they have sent one team to the Super Bowl and the AFC Championship over the past couple of seasons, and that is the Cincinnati Bengals, a.k.a. the LSU Tigers in the NFL, if you will. Talking about my main man, Joe Burrow. Always dropping grease. Jamar Chase, the crew. I think they were trying to make a trade for Grant Delpit, too. I think the front office up in Cincinnati knows that the Tigers of that season in LSU were super stout. But again, Rodney, let's jump into it. Let's get your thoughts right now in the NFL to talk about that AFC North division. The Cincinnati Bengals, rotation number 1101 plus 125. Some decent value for a team that went to the AFC Championship last year. I think they are a very, very good chance of winning that division again this year. But what say ye? Go ahead.
Yeah, man, they do have a great chance to win that division. But let's just say here, don't you think this division is probably the most up for grabs of any division in the NFL? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that this division has the better teams offensively and defensively top to bottom. But the problem that this division has is they are so stacked and they have to play each other so much during the season. It's going to cost you wins on the money line, man. You know I don't like that. But, yeah, go ahead. You're making a great point. Go ahead.
Yeah, it is. And it could be a division that only finds maybe one team in because of that. I mean, you could see the division winner going 10-7, maybe 11-6. and then the rest of the teams finishing around 9 wins, and you could literally see maybe all the teams finishing 500 or better.
Yeah.
I don't think Cleveland's going to be terrible.
No, let's talk about it. Cleveland, rotation number 1103, the Cleveland Browns, if you will, at plus 375. I think they've got a very good team. They were able to keep Nick Chubb. They've had that round robin at quarterback for 1,000 seasons, though. So I don't know how successful they're going to be at that position at plus 375, but go ahead and jump into it. Keep going, Rodney.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Cleveland, it does have to figure out the quarterback situation, but obviously can run the football, can play really good defense. Pittsburgh, I don't love the roster of the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it's a team that is very well coached, obviously, and will compete, and they are super tough. So they're gonna win some games, and then I really think you're going to see the I don't know if is the word pissed off okay to say on this?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. We're dropping grease all day. Go ahead.
You're going to see a pissed off Lamar Jackson this season, I think, in Baltimore. And so, I mean, if I'll get right to it, my pick is actually the Baltimore Ravens to win this division. I think you're going to see him one of those seasons where he just says, you're not stopping me, obviously, as long as the offensive line keeps him on his feet. But I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens to win this division. I think they got the defense, and I think Lamar Jackson is just going to have absolutely fantastic. I'm actually picking him as the MVP this year, too.
Yeah, the Baltimore Ravens, they gave him the contract that he wanted, talking about rotation number 1102. Again, you guys can get these rotation numbers and a betting bonus over at my friends betus.com, and all your legal jurisdictions use offer code VSX125. Rotation number 1102, the Baltimore Ravens at plus 250. This division is very valuable, as I said before. Every single team is in the plus money line. We talked about the Cleveland Browns, Pittsburgh Steelers rounding out that division at 1104 is the rotation number, plus 525. But again, going back to this Baltimore Ravens you were jumping into, I do think Lamar Jackson is the X factor. But let's not forget, they picked up Odell Beckham Jr. as possibly a second wide receiver. I don't know if his injury proneness would make him the top wide receiver or the number one choice. I know they're going to work on that and have been working on that in camp. But when you talk about from Lamar Jackson's perspective, getting into more pocket passing because they've tried to get some weapons around him, got another big name on the team to kind of take some of that star pressure off of him, I do think he's an opportunity to get the MVP for the league. But again, you're talking about that offensive line. What are some of the things that you've seen the Baltimore Ravens do to kind of shore that up? Because we saw Lamar have to get out of the pocket and run a lot more last year. And with him getting into some of the later seasons of his career, getting the franchise quarterback contract that he wanted over $250 million, I think they've got to do more to protect him and let him show his arm strength and accuracy, which he does have. He's been knocked on that for years, but he has arm strength and he's very, very accurate, especially in the red zone. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what they're going to have to continue to work on as camp gets going and as the preseason is in play. Is they have to figure out a way to keep him on his feet, per se, and keep him safe in the pocket when he doesn't go recklessly running down the field. I mean,
yeah, you know how that goes.
Obviously, but it's the offensive scheme. They've got to figure that out. You mentioned Odell Beckham Jr., another LSU guy there. But yeah, he 30 years old. I mean, there are obviously going to be some question marks on him. Hasn't played a football game since 2021, but we do know he has that great talent. And if you could slide him in as a 2 or even a 3 receiver, and the other guys pick the slack up, he's going to be a very dangerous 2 or 3 receiver.
I think he's going to be the target, red zone target. I think they're going to stat pad him this year. Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be a third down receiver and a red zone receiver. There's a prop bet out there. Will he get 10 or more? I think it's 10.5 now. A lot of people have been taking this bet. Touchdowns for the season. And if they use Odell Beckham Jr. the way I think they're going to use him, as a third down receiver to get that first down, maybe coming out of the slot or do a sneak deep ball. But most importantly, they're going to use Odell Beckham Jr. in the red zone. Let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers a little bit more. Again, rotation number 1104. This has always been a team that has been in the hunt in this division. Kenny Pickett coming into his second year as quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've maintained coaching consistency with Mike Tomlin. What do you see this team doing going forward this year? Lost a lot of that early wide receiver talent. Again, Juju Smith-Schuster, I think he's up in New England now. A lot of other guys didn't stay on that roster, but they still maintained consistency. Not so much dominant last year, but was a formidable date on that schedule and cost me quite a few spread tickets. But again, rotation number 1104, the Pittsburgh Steelers at plus 525 to win that division. How do you think they're going to fare with that second-year quarterback and a coach who may somehow want to keep coaching, but he's been there quite some time? Talking about Mike Tomlin. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Mike Tomlin continues to get the job done. I know 8-9 last year. A lot of questions on if he could continue his dominance as a head coach. I think you're going to see a very determined Mike Tomlin. The problem, like I said at the beginning of the show, is I just don't think they have the talent to match up, and there is talent in this division. Obviously, you're going to have to go against Joe Burrow. You're going to have to go against Lamar Jackson, and I'm not sure Pittsburgh's talent is there. They are going to be well coached. They are going to compete, and they're going to win some upset. They're going to make you mad on the money line,
right?
Because you're going to bet against them, and they're going to upset somebody. But winning the division, I don't see it happening. Although plus 525, interesting wager there. I just don't see it happening with Pittsburgh this year. Although I could see them winning 9 games and being right there in the mix.
Now, talking about the Browns, Deshaun Watson, quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. They brought him in after much controversy. We know we're not going to get into it here on the show. All money, all sports, no bull. Rocking with the boss of the big board, JB the Ticket, Vegas Scoreboard Express. Want to give a shout out to my main man, Mark Hayes. Not in studio today, out in California doing what he does. Station director, making sure this show happens. You heard me call out those technical difficulties, though. Whoever was here last night. Nah, just kidding. Cleveland Browns, rotation number 1103. Again, back to the grease, plus 375. Deshaun Watson, again, another quarterback. How the team goes is how he goes. He came in with a lot of controversy. Very talented young man, but he stayed out of the news for all the right reasons this past offseason. Okay, been working on his game. Cleveland Browns, what do you say?
Yeah, I mean, Cleveland obviously is going to be a very solid defensive team like they were last year, and I think Watson will find his way into being better this year than he was last year. But I think a lot like Pittsburgh, they're down in talent, and the head and shoulders of the division is Baltimore and Cincinnati. But just like I said with Pittsburgh, they're going to make you mad too, because Cleveland's going to win games that maybe they shouldn't, and they're going to win a lot of non-conference games. I think Cleveland's going to get to close to 9 wins. But and Nick Chubb obviously is going to get the ball a ton for them, and that's how they're going to have to win games. Give the ball to Chubb and put Watson in situations that he can be successful. Now,
an interesting thing that the Cleveland Browns have done, again, you just mentioned running back Nick Chubb. He was voted the best running back by the NFL personnel. Very good award. But they picked up a UAB college standout, a guy named Austin Watkins. He won a USFL championship pedigree, no less. They're bringing him in. Again, played at UAB, was a standout. So talking about the folks that Deshaun is going to be throwing to, who do you think is going to be one of these players that is going to be able to step up for the Cleveland Browns and be a number 1 target for Deshaun Watson? It looks like the Browns have bet all their horns and money yet again on another quarterback. That quarterback jersey statue that they've got downtown is growing and growing. Do you think Deshaun will be the one to keep the jersey on his back and not end up on that dummy downtown? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about receivers, Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones. But which one of them is going to come through in the clutch? I mean, obviously right. Cooper's the guy who's going to throw to. But I don't love that receiving core at all. So I think that puts Watson in a very tough situation.
You heard it here, my main man, Rodney Knuppel. Thank you so much for stopping by the big board today. Any shout-outs, my main man? I know it took us a minute to get you on the technical difficulties, but never going to stop the grease here at KSHP AM 1400. JB the Ticket giving you some live grease. Week 1 in preseason, the Cleveland Browns, we were just talking about them in the division, going to get a sneak preview of some of their third and second stringers in the Hall of Fame game coming up on August 3rd. You guys can check that game out on Fubo TV. Cleveland Browns right now, -1.5, plus 105 on the money line. And then you're talking about it from the perspective of the New York Jets. We're going to be getting into the AFC East tomorrow. Got quite a good lineup for you. Who do you think is going to come out of that game? And what are some of the schemes that you think the Cleveland Browns are going to be showing? Again, I've talked a lot about them in this division because they are my circle team. They're the team that I'm looking at saying, look, if If there's any team that's going to have a chance to make you some money as a dog in this division, it's going to be the Cleveland Browns. But talking about that Hall of Fame game, what are some of the schemes that you think you're going to see from offensive and defense? And I'll let you get out of here and get back to your day. Thank you so much again, Rodney, for dropping this grease. But I got to get one more nugget for the fans before you get out of here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Hall of Fame game is going to be pretty vanilla at the beginning. They're going to look to play some guys that are going to get looked at. I think Cleveland playing close to home is obviously going to be my pick in this one. You're not going to see Aaron Rodgers yet in that one. So I like Cleveland to win this game. As far as the team, you're going to see guys that you're not going to see in the league playing, unfortunately. So hard to tell scheme-wise, but I'm taking Cleveland being closer to home in that one. I'll take the Browns minus 1.5 on the spread right now.
There you go. You know what time it is, my main man, Rodney Knuppel, Noob Sports. Thank you so much for stopping by the big board. When I get back, going to be bringing him back on, my main man, Ron, Third Down Best Bets. Going to be finishing out the show with you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Shout out to my main man, Naeem the Dream, here in Las Vegas listening. All you fans listening here in Las Vegas, don't worry. JB the Ticket is a radio board professional. Can fix any technical difficulty that you might run into, and I can fix any of your betting problems that you're running into this pro football season. Keep it locked here, AM 1400 KSHP 107.1 each and every single Saturday morning. VSX Digital Sports Networks. You can follow me on Instagram at JB the Ticket. You can follow the show on the Bird at We Beat the Line. We're on every single major podcast network. Again, just got put on Amazon. So if you got your Alexa, you might want to turn it down. Alexa, play JB the Ticket. You know what time it is. Vegas Scoreboard Express when I get back from this short commercial break. Going to be wrapping up the show with you and sending you out to your betting day here in Las Vegas and around the world. It's time to grab your bankroll, people, and let's get some money.
You're listening to the boss of the big ball, JB the Ticket. Vegas Scoreboard